In the NBA, what if the absolute riskiest move a team could make was losing? Today we're diving deep into tanking, that strategic art of losing games on purpose. But more importantly, we're going to break down a really radical new proposal designed to kill it for good by making every single game matter.
So how do you even lose a game on purpose? I mean, let's be clear. When we talk about tanking, it is almost never about the players on the floor giving anything less than 100%. The real strategy is way more subtle, and it comes straight from the front office and the coaching staff. And to really see it in action, you got to look at this perfect and very recent example. So, a game not too long ago between the Utah Jazz and the Orlando Magic. It pretty much illustrates this whole problem perfectly. Now, the Jazz, they were in control for most of the night, but what happened in those final minutes? Well, that tells you everything you need to know about the modern art of losing. Okay, look at this timeline. You can see a very clear pattern of, well, inaction. Utah's best players, who were having great games by the way, were glued to the bench for the entire fourth quarter. Then, as the game gets tight, Orlando ties it up, nothing from Coach Will Hardy, no timeout. Down by 1 with the ball, still no timeout. Down 3 with one last chance, you guessed it. These are all decisions that, while not explicitly telling your players to lose, absolutely did not put them in a position to win.
And this brings us right to the core idea here, soft tanking. The guys on the court, they're competing hard, they always are. But the organization, by making these specific coaching and personnel moves, is playing a totally different game. It's a game where losing today actually improves your odds of landing a superstar tomorrow.
So the league is definitely aware this is a big issue, and they're reportedly kicking around several ideas to fix it. But here's the question, are they trying to solve the right problem?
The ideas that are being floated, they range from freezing the lottery odds mid-season to stopping teams from getting high picks year after year. And look, some of these are interesting, especially the one about making the odds equal for all non-playoff teams. But do any of them really solve the fundamental problem?
This is the crucial point right here. All of the current ideas are about making losing less attractive. They're all based on penalties, on restrictions, but they do nothing, absolutely nothing to make winning more attractive for a team that's already out of the playoff hunt. They tried to disincentivize losing, but they totally failed to truly incentivize winning.
So, what if we just flipped the whole script? Instead of just making losing less appealing, what if we created a powerful, new reason for struggling teams to actually win? Well, this brings us to the big idea, a draft tournament, turning the end of the season into a high-stakes competition for the top picks.
Okay, so here's how it would work. It's actually pretty straightforward. If you don't make the playoffs, you are in this tournament. It will be a bracket-style format, maybe best of 3 series. And the prize? It's huge. The 2 teams that make it to their conference's tournament final are guaranteed a top 4 draft pick. The old lottery system, the one that literally rewards losing, is just gone. Now you have to win to get the best young talent.
Now, an idea like this creates a massive ripple effect. It doesn't just change the end of the season, it completely flips the motivations for everyone involved, from the general manager and the front office all the way down to the last player on the bench.
Just think about it for a second. For general managers, losing is now actively harmful. You want the highest seed you can get for an easier path and home court advantage in the tournament. For coaches, that means no more benching your stars, like we just saw with the Jazz. And for the players, they get a televised playoff-style competition with real financial bonuses on the line, kind of like the in-season tournament. Their reputation, their future contracts, it's all at stake. All of a sudden, that meaningless game in March has real, tangible stakes.
Of course, there is a major counterargument here. What about the truly bad teams? The ones that are rebuilding from the ground up. Won't this system just trap them at the bottom forever, unable to win the tournament and get that high pick they need?
Well, that whole criticism really hinges on one fundamental assumption, that getting a top 4 pick is the only way to find a franchise-altering player. But is that actually true? Let's take a quick look at recent draft history.
I mean, this list really says it all. Elite talent is consistently found outside of the top 4. We're talking about players like Tyrese, Haliburton, Shai, Gilgeous-Alexander. These are all-stars, MVP candidates, and they were all picked much later. It just proves that smart scouting and good player development, not just dumb lottery luck, are what truly build a contender.
So, the crucial takeaway here is that a tournament system doesn't punish a team for being bad. It just removes the reward for not trying. A 15th seed team can still go on a run, win the whole tournament, and get the #1 pick. They just aren't handed the best odds for it anymore. They have to actually earn it.
This quote from Mark Cuban, it perfectly sums up the old way of thinking, right? It's this acceptance that losing is a viable, maybe even a necessary strategy for getting better. And this is the exact mindset that has created the problem we see today.
Ultimately, this whole thing really boils down to one simple question. In a professional sports league, for the fans, for the players, for the integrity of the game itself, should winning always be the goal? This draft tournament idea argues that the answer has to be a definitive, resounding yes. It would force every single team to compete, always. And honestly, that just might be what the NBA needs.